Hi Leo, welcome back. We have a lot to talk about, so I want to just get right into things. We're going to be discussing the last 2 weeks of June, Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. These are going to be general messages, but we are going to be starting out discussing the eclipse, okay, that I did discuss in the first 2 week of June video, and how this is going to be playing out for you guys, okay? So we're going to be dealing with there's a lot of stuff going on in the sky, but we're only going to be focusing on the eclipses in this particular video, as well as some general messages for those last 2 weeks, because we do have a lot going on with the eclipses. In the first 2 weeks of June, I did discuss the houses and the early, middle, and degree placements for all the different Leos and who's going to be feeling what the most. But I am pulling cards for those for the 4 houses, the main 4 houses that you're all going to be feeling it in, okay? And we're just going to talk about what to expect. And remember, the narrative of this eclipse started last July, and it's going to be going through till next July. But we do have on July 2nd the solar eclipse happening in Cancer, and then a couple of weeks later we have the lunar eclipse happening in Capricorn. So this is going to be impacting especially the cardinal signs, but really all of us, guys. It really is. Let's take my bathrobe off. Yeah, so everybody's going to be feeling it in the biggest way. All right, so as we discussed last week, Leos are going to be feeling it mostly in the 12th and 6th house polarity and the 11th and 5th house polarity. Slight hints into the 9th and 10th, but we're not really going to worry about that. But all Leos are going to be having a very strong focus on work, career, issues with the dominant parent. And early and middle degree Leos predominantly are going to have a very, very strong breakthroughs with addictions, fears, and spiritual beliefs. Okay, so let's get right into what these mean. This is the 11th house. This is the house of friends, okay? Friends. So this is all about associations and how we connect with others. It's the house of group alliances, ideals, and our aspirations in any public situation or social arena. So like it's typically referred to as the house of friends, but it really is a lot more than that. It's anything and everything you do with a collective, you know, that comes from like a group, people who you identify and align yourself with. So it can be your group of friends, but it could also be your group of colleagues. It could also be how well you get along with your family. It could, you know, whoever you kind of like get along with in your life definitely falls within this sector. And this house has a lot to do with our destiny and what we decide to give before we leave this earth. Right? This is like where our soul purpose lives. So the 11th house deals with the greater good and living up to an ideal. And this does indicate that there are going to be changes in your friendships and associations. Many of you are going to be able to achieve a very important goal or desire based upon who you know. So this means that, you know, hooking up with the right people at the right time, you know, being about the people that you know, what organizations and associations are you connected with to make the changes that are necessary in your life to bring you on the path, your path in the way that you are meant to be on. The 11th house is also the house of stepchildren, you know, children who belong to your partner, and issues involving such children might arise, but we would need to look at the rest of the cards to get an indication of what that really means. But this is where their energy lives. But this is really all about the collective. So it's a good time to, you know, not a good time to serve only your needs, not a good time to be selfish, because what works out is what works best for all here, you know. So it's time to really be very true in that understanding, like I call this like the comrade energy, be a good comrade, and give consideration to friends during this transition that's going to be happening here. And the Tarot Association, for those of you who know regular tarot, is the 3 of Cups energy. Okay, so the first card that we have as advice from the universe is the Ascendant or Outlook card. I don't know if you could. These by the way, these are my Astro deck. This is the Numinous. It's called the Numinous Astro deck for those of you who are interested. Okay, so this represents outlook, and I do get a lot of questions about what the deal is with the ascending and rising sign. A lot of you know this, but for those of you who don't, your ascendant and your rising sign are the same thing. It's synonymous, and it's best for us to think about our ascending sign as the foundation of our personality. and in a big way, our bathroom mirror, because it's the style of our expression and the way people perceive us. So in our charts, it shows which sign of the zodiac was cresting on the eastern horizon as we emerged from our mother's womb. And it's the energetic flavor of our first sip of air. So it really is quite important, you know, and it rules first impressions. And it's the mask that we've been crafting since we were born. And it's how we gradually adapt and respond to our environment in order to navigate the ups and downs of the life we have. And we really feel very, like when our ascendant sign is aligned with our soul purpose, we 100% know we're on the right path, you know? So you're going to be asked right now to think about, this means when we get this is, you're being asked to think about how the person you really are and how the person you are out in the world might be out of alignment with each other. And this is a space where you need to really ask yourself, are you living your truth? Because this energy is asking you to think about the ways in which you've been holding back from being fully seen because you're scared. Okay? So really embracing and embodying your wholeness can feel very vulnerable and exposing, but that's really ultimately where your personal empowerment lives. So you need to think about, you know, there are any areas in your life where you've been hiding. And this could be as simple as hiding behind clothes. And I don't mean, of course, we all have to wear clothes, but you know what I mean. You know, really needing to keep up with the Joneses as far as fashion goes, or behind your social media page. Are you hiding behind a partner? Are you hiding behind a lifestyle or a nice car or a great job? You know, like where do you fit into all of that? And are you in touch with this at this point? Because this eclipse is going to be making you look at that, you know, and take this as an opportunity to recalibrate and experiment with a more authentic mode of self-expression, you know, in an area that you know that you're hiding in, because it is going to impact this house, okay? And then we have the Princess of Swords, okay? Now we're going to, just to clarify here, I'm going to get now more, and so this has to do with the eclipses, okay? And these are going to be more relevant to this last 2-week time period, but relevant to the houses that we're talking about, okay? I hope that makes sense to you, okay? To this last 2 weeks. And I pulled my chakra cards just to give us some insight into what's happening in these houses during this time period. So again, we have this Princess of Swords reverse. So this is a heart chakra energy, asking you to look at those whose approval you might be feeling you need right now, you know? Some true fears are going to be rising up to the surface, and this does indicate stressful situations being blown out of proportion by a certain individual who really kind of gets off on drama but lacks the courage to take control of the situation. So this indicates you may feel let down by someone you thought you could really rely on during this time. And this is someone with a really big personality who has a lot to say but with very little substance, who's very smart, and can usually either talk their way out of something or very effectively deflect issues back onto you. And since this has to do with your 11th house, think about really any of the relationships in your life truly can fall into this. But now, because this is a court card, I do have to say that this can very well be you, okay? This can be, let me get that light. I just noticed how, sorry, that's a little dark, but got to get this lighting down. But this can, because the core cards mean it can be you or someone else, and I do have to just say that. But this is a situation that you're being asked to think about during this time, and to just know that this is going to be something that you're going to be going through. And then we have the Nine of Coins reverse. This is a sacral chakra energy, which asks you to pay attention to how you are emotionally responding to something. You know, are you responding in a mature or an immature way? Because when this card's reverse, it shows vanity and ego at play. Either you or someone else, okay, having a really strong urge right now for material wealth or something material that ends up getting out of control. So overspending is indicated in here, and it needs to be confronted. So again, this can be you or a loved one. In general, though, this energy indicates financial dependence on someone that's really uncomfortable, or can indicate a misuse of money for selfish means. You know, for many of you, this can mean a feeling that your home is somehow under threat because you're struggling with debt. And because this is the 11th house, is about what's good for the collective within your life, this is going to incite a lot of stress within this house for you in this way. So this is just something that you're going to need to be looking at and dealing with during this time. Okay, and then we have up here, we have the 5th house of creativity. Okay, so this is where we're going to be dealing with the swapping out of energies between these two houses. Okay, so you can be dealing with your house of friendships, the house of friends, and the house of creativity are going to be doing some swapping out during this eclipse season. Okay, so I have to say, if the zodiac had a fun house, it would be the 5th house. This is pleasure, creativity, children are all elements of this house, and being in the limelight is another element. Playing is very much what the 5th house is about, you know, and this does also rule early stages of romance, you know, that fun honeymoon phase. But this is about putting hard work into creating something and there being a completion of a project or an accomplishment that is a significant goal where celebration is required. And since the 5th house is the natural house position for the sign of Leo, someone close to you or you, but this could be a potential lover or a current partner, or the two of you together making a striking appearance out in public, or to just two people in your life. You're just going to be this very seemingly in like a very together type of couple, very well matched. This is going up. This is going to be bringing about a very positive transformation for you in a current relationship. Yeah, and others of you are going to be finding not only a new potential partner, but it's someone it's going to be a very healthy relationship. Someone's going to last at the end of this. So this would be kind of like, as the eclipse rolls out, you're going to be finding yourself in a much healthier space regarding what you consider fun. You're going to be in a much healthier space to rebuild the foundation in a relationship, or a much healthier space to draw healthier people towards you. So I think all of that's good. And then we have Cancer here as a supporting advice from the universe, which is, this is the doula card, right? We call this the doula card. I'll show you. Pretty card this is. See? Yeah. So the advice here is asking you to look at the balance between giving and receiving in your life. Okay, because this has to be addressed before we can have that beautiful outcome. You know, and how has what the difference between what you're giving and receiving been impacting your creativity and self-expression? Like, how much caretaking have you been doing, and where have you been maybe forgetting about yourself, not showing yourself some TLC? You know, we learned that it's good to give, right? But when our reserves are depleted, we can end up becoming resentful of the very people we want to help the most, right? So as we progress through this eclipse season, make space for things that fill up your own cup. Do something as simple as cooking yourself a great meal, or cancel some plans to get in some early nights. Is the advice here wants you to remember that self-care is never selfish, never, okay? And then bringing it more into this time frame, we have the 6 of Cups energy. This is the third eye chakra energy that makes us look at our origin and where we come from, and how much of what we think and feel on a day-to-day basis is based on what's real, or what's based on things that we learned in our family unit of origin. And this is you really getting in touch with what gets in your way from having the creative and fulfilling life that you feel your heart is meant for. You know, and really kind of looking at your patterning here is what I'm saying. You know, recognizing your beautiful parts, but also calling out the parts of yourself that need some work. Okay, so with the 6 of Cups, this is about happy memories and times where you're recalling beautiful memories from your past. This is going to be a time of reconnecting with your childhood, your own childhood, and many of you are going to be connecting with your own children in a beautiful way during this time. But this is about you letting out that inner child to play and have fun, you know, without the usual burden and worries that are, you know, typically a part of life. This is a time for good things coming from the past too, guys. So many of you are going to be reconnecting with the past relationship in a healthier way if you want it. And you have to say you have free will, okay? A lot of you are going to be reconnecting with old friends or family members that you haven't seen in a really long time. In many ways, this is literally going back to your roots. So some of you, this can literally be a trip back to your childhood home, but in some way the past is returning to help you in the present. And you're also going to be able to find the right balance in relationships and enjoy a period of peace and harmony as a result of this. And this is also very much an energy of compassion and kindness. So for those of you who feel like in some way you've gone through like being treated really shitty in the past, the situation is going to be improved. Something's going to be rectified here. And beautiful times are ahead. And any disruptions or upsets are going to be smoothed over and remedied right now, which is great. No, hello. Then look what we have next. We have the World card. This is, love this. Awesome. This is about triumph and completion and a reward for your efforts, which is why this is one of the most welcome cards in any reading, right? It notes deep joy and just real happiness and deserved success. This is where your dedication pays off and your life begins to feel really balanced. You know, if like a definitive phase is coming to an end in a positive way, and you're going to finally be acknowledged for what you have done and what you do. You've been waiting for a decision or an opportunity to manifest or a situation to unfold. This indicates it rolling out in your favor. And just a lot of fulfillment here in your relationship sector and you achieving your goals and being recognized at work. Beautiful completion of something in your home that many of you have been working on. Many gifts coming into your 5th house for you, Leo. You know, again, because the eclipses, they eclipse out and take in. So your 5th house is going to be getting a lot of gifts, but you're going to be having some things eclipsed out of this 8th house. Yeah. So let's go on to the 12th house. Okay. So this is a little bit of a heavier house. We have to talk about this. This is called the House of Self-Undoing. So, yeah. And I know a lot of you Leos are dealing with stuff like this just from all the readings that I've been doing. So before I even get into this, I want you to know that this is where the loss is going to be coming in for you, which is awesome. Okay. And you're going to be blessed in your day-to-day activities because you're losing these things from this house of self-undoing. And what is this house? Okay, so it's considered the most mesmerizing of all the houses. So in short, it's the place in the chart where we lapse in judgment and we make bad choices. And a lot of astrologers consider the 12th house as like the garbage can of the zodiac. And I kind of think it gets a bad rap considering everything else that it ultimately has to offer. But we do have to acknowledge what it is. This is where the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows live. You know, it's ruled by Neptune, which is the planet of confusion and drunkenness and prisoners and shut-ins and saints and artists and mystics. You know, they all call this home, but it's both the beginning and the end of something, okay? So this house offers bliss and spiritual fulfillment, meeting a twin flame or something that's just really destiny-driven here, right? But with the tendency to lose yourself in someone or something, and someone or something that feels almost impossible to hold on to. And I always say it's like trying to hold anything in this house. It's like trying to hold on to a cloud, you know, because there's almost a sense of while it's in this 12th house, there's almost a dream like something's like not real about it, if that makes sense. But this is where addictions live and secret desires live. So you're being asked now how to figure out what is off in your life. You know, what's missing in your life? What's just off? What are you not in alignment with? And in addition to being honest about anything that's unhealthy that's controlling you, you're being asked to think about a situation in your life that you're very unsure about right now, or at least feel like you're not privy to. Something doesn't seem right, and there's something in your life that you feel like you're not getting all the information on, and you're finding it really difficult to move forward and away from because of that. And the signals that you're getting right now from someone or a situation are probably the wrong ones, because this does indicate deception. So this can be someone trying to deceive you, or this can be you deceiving yourself, Leo. Okay? So the warning here, though, is to not look at others or other things for fulfillment and purpose, all right? because you're going to be pushed to search for clarity during this time. And I love that we have the Virgo card as your advice from the universe next, because the Virgo here, Virgo is the alchemist, right? So the advice here is for you to take out your microscope and take a closer look at everything we just discussed regarding the 12th house. There's something in your world is ready to be looked at and examined very closely, but you might have to slow down and get quiet for a minute to figure out exactly what it is. Now, in regular tarot, Virgo is represented by the Hermit card, which is all about internal exploration and introspection. And this is prompting you to take time to really get in touch with yourself right now in an attempt to really center yourself completely. This includes creating some healthy routines, guys, too, when it comes to diet and exercise, because doing this is going to access your flow state, where you feel really kind of like in alignment. Diet is very involved in that. But the thing is with your state of flow, that's where you're able to manifest beautiful things to be brought to you. So this is how you're going to be able to remove the blocks that you feel challenged by in your life, And then we have the Fool reverse, which is the heart chakra. This is family beliefs and the need to shift old ideas. And this reverse energy wants you to ask if you are doing something that isn't a leap too far. Like have you gone too far in a certain area? Because the Fool reverse is all about your irresponsible side and your mouth working ahead of your brain. And this energy usually indicates doing something without thinking through the downside and making some unwise decisions. And decisions that can often sabotage your chances of accomplishing something or becoming successful at something. So the advice here is to think carefully before taking anything on or doing anything, and hold back from any emotional commitments until you're sure of the ground that you're standing on with a person or a situation, okay? And then we have the 10 of Wands here, which is a solar plexus energy. And this is about, think about what you think and think about where that leads you. Because this energy tells me that you're carrying too much on your shoulders right now, and you may have become so used to being overloaded that you've lost sight of the reason why you're even doing what you're doing. It's like so many demands put on you, Leo. Constant multitasking, yeah. Many of you feel, you may not even be aware of it, but I am getting that many of you, because this indicates, are carrying issues from your past that are still deeply burdening you. But I call this the catch-22 card, because while this indicates the need for looking for ways to have fewer demands put on you, the situation can change until you lighten up your current load of responsibilities to put in the time to make the changes. But you don't have the time because you're busy taking care of either your job or your necessary day-to-day activities. See, it's like, you feel too drained by your present situation to spend the time figuring it out. And especially for those of you who feel overworked by your job searching is so time consuming. It really, really is, right? So I just feel like this overload is feeding into maybe some bad habits that you have and just how you're dealing with it. That's just an example of how that could work out, okay? And then we have the 6th house, which is ruled by Virgo and Mercury. And this is all about routine, okay? Your routine in your everyday life. And this house reminds us of what we should do to maintain good health. And in this way, diet figures in really, really strongly. So anything that comes under alternative health or any approach to strengthening the body and supporting a healthy lifestyle all falls under this category, the 6th house. 6th house is about duty and responsibility and also gainful employment. It shows how hard you work, how organized you are, how much you worry. What do you do on a day-to-day basis? You're going to be asked to consider your state of health during this eclipse season. For your future plans to progress smoothly, you have to have a strong body, right? Which indicates you looking very closely at your diet. Which approaches may help you, which approaches are you taking on that maybe are working across purposes for yourself right now, just paying attention to that. Becoming more knowledgeable about different ways you can help yourself, like maybe massage or acupuncture, chiropractic care, various herbal supplements, maybe a really healthy diet regime, anything like that is going to help to support this journey. For sure. This eclipse may create changes and disruptions in your daily schedule, and this is going to require some extra patience from you, Okay, focus on the small things right now is the advice here, rather than the big picture, keeping in mind that the big picture can't happen without the buildup of all the little small ideas, right? So you're not wasting time and not focusing on the big picture, because you may find yourself worrying over small matters which end up really exhausting you. But this is very much a time to, take on that Virgo energy and go into that state, that very introspective, analytical state. And yeah, because look, the sun is supporting you. This is all about feelings. The advice here is for you to consider where you might be keeping yourself small, or stifling the urges and desires that make you you. What's been getting in your way from you living the day-to-day life that you really desire, And this is about asking how you can connect to your personal power, in a way that you're able to ignore your inner and outer critics, because we are our biggest critics, guys, aren't we? I think we all are in that way. So there's no room for comparison now, because like I say, comparison is the thief of happiness all the time, right? And this energy supports you naturally showing up without feeling that you have anything to prove. The sun is entirely positive always, but here, this is encouraging you to let go of any fears that really don't even warrant your attention. Remember, guys, the sun rises each and every day regardless. So there's nothing to be afraid about. This is about you getting in touch with that gift that only you can bring to the world, because yes, we all do have a gift that we can bring to the world. So I love that for you. Yeah, okay, look, I'm not surprised. Then we have the Ten of Swords reversed. Another solar plexus energy. Not surprised here. All right. This is asking you to consider again what you think and what's leading you. Typically, this energy indicates that something's over. But it's something that's been built up over time, like one sword at a time has been put in your back. So this isn't really anything very sudden. This can be so many things. This can be a bad way of thinking. The end of horrible habits, the end of, it can be the end of a relationship. It can be the end of a phase in a relationship, though, too. It doesn't necessarily have to be a breakup, but it's something that needs to be over, that was building up over a long period of time, where it's finally done. Because this reverse does tell me, though, that you're looking back on the past of this situation, and you're feeling guilty or angry, and you're reacting more deeply to this fallout or change. So guys, just try really hard not to hold on to the stress of it, but radically accept whatever the situation is and let it go. As I am getting, a lot of you are going to be feeling helpless, in this energy, especially if you've been through a period of feeling overwhelmed emotionally. And I am also getting that, especially if you've been physically ill in some way through this time. But this indicates you soon being able to pick yourself right back up and moving out of the situation. So I do like that. And then finally, we have the third eye chakra energy, the sun. And I can't believe we got the sun in this two suns in the same row. Oh my gosh. It's impossible to see anything negative about the sun. It's just this, even when we have it reversed. The only glitch here is that there's going to be a delay in your plans, but you're still going to have extreme happiness and contentment here regardless. Having the sun on both sides of this Ten of Swords reverse energy is so supportive and so indicative to me that whatever's ending here was way beyond its expiration date. And whatever you're getting rid of, whatever's getting eclipsed out here, because I feel like what's getting eclipsed out here with this Ten of Swords energy is from here, is from this house, But it's going to profoundly improve your day-to-day life moving forward. I love that. Leo, good stuff. I like this reading for you. It's going to be a struggle. This house is going to be a struggle for you. But there's nothing but good on the other side of it. Because we can just act a certain way for just so long until it catches up with us. It doesn't have to mean addiction. This could just mean bad behavior, bad thinking, dark thinking. Could be a bunch of things. Leo, that is what I have for you. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.